Hello friends, myself Dr. Nandakumar Raubawali from College of Engineering Ambajogay is going to deal with Applied Thermodynamics 1. This is our 42nd lecture. In previous lecture, we have discussed numericals on condenser. Today we will be starting new topic known as air compressor. Today we will be getting the introduction to air compressor, then applications of compressed air, classification of compressor, components of air compressor, terminology of air compressor, work done per kg of air compressed without clearance. We do not consider clearance compressor. Then work done per kg of air compressed with clearance volume and volumetric effect of a compressor. Let us start with the compressor and applications of compressed air. The compressor is nothing but a power consuming machine. As like in case of engine, it is a power producing machine. Compressor does not run automatically at its own, needs to be operated, and for that power is required, and that power is consumed by compressor, which is produced by a electrical motor or a engine. So that's why compressor is known as a power consuming machine, which increases pressure of air. The function of compressor is to increase pressure of air. Primary function is to increase the pressure of air, thereby reducing volume of air, and simultaneously there will be increase in the temperature of air. With increase in the pressure, volume gets reduced, and because of friction and compression, the temperature of air gets increased. So this is what a compressor, a machine which consumes power, increases pressure, thereby reducing volume, and simultaneously the increase in temperature is observed. Now what are the applications of compressed air? Compressed air is used for powering small engines. Small engines are at the starting need to be cranked, and compressed air is to power such small engines, whereas the compressed air is used to operate pneumatic tools such as drills, drill machines, pneumatic spanners, or pneumatic air motors. So such tools are operated by using a compressed air. Then operating pneumatic drills, hammers in road buildings. These pneumatic tools are used in construction of road and buildings. So excavation, wherever there is excavation work, earth excavation, the pneumatic tools are used. In case of minings and all, there is also application of compressed. So you might have seen that the borewell machine uses a pneumatic pressure to remove the dust from a borewell. That is one of the use of the compressed air. Excavation is one of the application. Then tunneling and mining. In mining and tunneling, compressed air is required, where the directly machines cannot be taken into the tunnels or minings. Compressed air is passed through the hose pipes, and that is used to operate. And starting the diesel engines. So this compressed air is used to crank the diesel engines starting. And operating brakes, you might have observed on the trucks, pneumatic brake, air brakes. The power operated brakes are using sometimes hydraulic pressure, sometimes pneumatic pressure, or mechanical pressure. So here compressed air is used to operate power brakes. Sometimes you might have observed on trucks pneumatic brake or air brake. That is the function of our compressed air is used in various applications. Now classification of air compressor. So broadly, air compressors are classified into two categories. One is positive displacement compressor and another is a rotary compressor. So in case of positive displacement compressor, a reciprocating compressor is known as a positive displacement compressor, where the volume is reduced by the movement of piston. Again, these reciprocating air compressors are classified as single acting air compressor if air is compressed on one side of piston. Say this is the piston and this is the cylinder. Air is compressed on only one side of this piston, then it is known as a single acting air compressor. And if air is compressed on both sides of this piston, then it is known as a double acting air compressor. Single acting air compressor, then double acting air compressor, and third one is single stage air compressor. So if air is compressed in only one cylinder and directly delivered for use, so this is compressed in one cylinder and directly it is delivered for the application, then it is called as a single stage air compressor. If it is compressed in multiple stages, say for example first cylinder, then second cylinder, then third cylinder, it is compressed in first, then it is passed into the second cylinder, then it is passed into the third cylinder, and then it is taken for application. Such type of compressor is known as a multi-stage air compressor. Then rotary compressor, so where the compression process takes place by the movement or rotary action of the rotor or blades or vanes. Such compressors are known as rotary compressors. So again, these are classified as centrifugal compressor. The process of compression takes place by centrifugal action of impeller in a compressor. An axial flow compressor, so the flow direction of air is in the axial direction of this compressor, and there will be multiple stages. In each stage air is compressed gradually. Then a root blower type, there will be blower and a vane blower. So these are the four different types of rotary compressors. So we will be discussing all in detail. So now components of air compressor. What are the major components of a air compressor? So very first, piston. So what is this piston? Piston is nothing but a part in the compressor. So this is the piston. You can see here. Orange color part is piston. So this is the part which is moved in the cylinder, a reciprocating component. So which has the function to compress air. So air on one side of this piston, where air is sucked here and this air is compressed by the moment of piston. So this piston is moved in up and down direction by this connecting rod and crankshaft. So when this crankshaft starts to rotate, then this crankshaft pushes this connecting rod, converts this rotary motion of crank into oscillatory motion of connecting rod, and this oscillatory motion of connecting rod is converted into reciprocating motion of piston. Upward moment of piston is going to compress air in the cylinder, and at the end of compression this outlet wall or outlet port is opened, and then compressed air is taken from this outlet port. And during the downward moment of piston, this inlet wall is opened and fresh air enters into this compressor cylinder. So this air again is pushed by this piston. So this is the main component in a compressor, which converts the rotary motion of crank into reciprocating motion of piston, and this piston is a component which is responsible for the actual compression of air. Now second component is cylinder. So the cavity in which this piston reciprocates, so this part which is here, in which this piston reciprocates, is known as a cylinder, and that is also helping in the same way as that of piston. So it is a stationary part, whereas piston is a reciprocating part. So this cylinder helps us to trap the air in it and helps to compress the air. and supports to the cylinder head, walls, everything. So cylinder head and walls are mounted over this cylinder, and this cylinder is mounted over the casing. So here there will be casing, and this cylinder is mounted over the casing, and surrounding this cylinder there will be a water jacket. So water jacket is provided in order to cool this cylinder. So this cylinder supports cylinder head and walls, whereas it is going to rest over the crankcase, and it holds the water jacket through which water is passed, or this external part of cylinder is provided with the fins extended portion in order to cool this cylinder. And third one is piston rings. So there will be rings over this piston. So these rings are avoiding leakage of air from cylinder into the crankcase. So effective compression is provided. So if this piston moves in this cylinder, there will be friction between cylinder and piston. So in order to avoid that friction, some clearance is provided between cylinder and piston, and that clearance makes this air to leak into the crankcase, and that leakage is avoided by providing piston rings over the piston, and these rings are going to seal the clearance between piston and cylinder. So these piston rings have the function to avoid or to reduce leakage of compressed air into the crankcase. And fourth one is connecting rod. So this is the connecting rod, which is oscillatory part which converts a rotary motion of crank into the reciprocating motion of piston. So this is one of the major component. Already these components you might have studied in IC engine. Now crank. So this is the crank fifth part. This crank is nothing but a rotary part, transfers the rotary motion or power produced in the engine or electrical motor to the compressor, and this rotary motion is converted by this connecting rod into the oscillatory motion and then into the reciprocating motion of piston. Now inlet and delivery valve. It has got two valves. So this is the inlet valve. When pressure inside the cylinder falls below the atmospheric pressure, that is, the piston moves from top dead center to the bottom dead center. Pressure inside the cylinder falls below the atmospheric pressure, and fresh air from atmosphere enters into the cylinder. And when piston moves from bottom dead center towards the top dead center, then the pressure of air increases to the delivery pressure. When the pressure of air increases up to the delivery pressure, then this outlet valve opens and the compressed air is discharged into the reservoir. So these are the two valves which govern the movement of air into the compressor cylinder and from the compressor cylinder. So pressure, initially pressure is P1, which is, say, for example, atmospheric pressure, and final pressure is P2. When pressure in the cylinder falls below the atmospheric pressure, this inlet valve opens, and when pressure inside the cylinder exceeds the delivery pressure P2, then outlet valve gets opened and this air is passed into the reservoir and it is stored into the tank we call as a reservoir. So compressed air is stored into the reservoir. So generally speaking, these valves are operated, theoretically speaking, we say that these valves are operated based on pressure difference, but actually these valves are not operated by the pressure difference, but these valves are operated by using a cam mechanism. So this is about the components of reciprocating air compressor. Now coming to the terminology, ratio of compression or pressure ratio. So what is pressure ratio that we see? It is the ratio of absolute discharge pressure. Absolute discharge pressure in the sense. So already you know what is absolute pressure, atmospheric pressure, gauge pressure. So absolute pressure is the sum of atmospheric pressure plus gauge pressure. So say for example, air is discharged at a pressure P2 and it enters at pressure P1. Say P1 is the atmospheric pressure at which air enters into the compressor, and P2 is the pressure at which air comes out of this compressor. So this P2 is absolute pressure, P1 is also absolute pressure. So here P2 divided by P1 is the pressure ratio. It is the ratio of absolute discharge pressure to inlet pressure. So P2 divided by P1 is the pressure ratio. Then next terminology is free air delivered. What is free air delivered? The free air delivered is the actual volume of air delivered at the stated pressure. What is stated pressure? So air is delivered at pressure P2 and volume of air may be something V1 or V2. V2 is the volume of air delivered actually at pressure P2 reduced to intake pressure and temperature. Intake pressure is P1 and intake temperature is T1. So when air enters into this compressor, so at the time of inlet and at the time of outlet, so say for example air enters at pressure P1 and temperature T1, the volume of air which enters in this cylinder, and then this air is delivered at pressure P2 and temperature T2. So obviously pressure P2 is greater than P1 and temperature T2 is greater than T1. So this air which is delivered by this compressor is at pressure P2, temperature T2 and having volume of V2. So this air is allowed to reduce its pressure to inlet pressure. So this air which is having volume V2, pressure P2, temperature T2 is allowed to have the initial inlet intake pressure and temperature. So this air pressure is reduced to P1 and temperature T1, and then the volume of air is measured, and that volume of air is known as free air delivered. Free air delivery, is it clear? So what is happening? Initially pressure is say for example 1 bar and temperature is say 27 degrees Celsius at the inlet. Now when this air is passed into the compressor and compressed with the help of a compressor, it comes out at 10 bar pressure. P is equal to 10 bar and temperature is say for example 100 degrees Celsius. So air comes out at 100 degrees Celsius and volume of air which is stored is V2. So now this air is reduced. So in order to reduce its pressure to P1 bar and temperature to T1, that is 1 bar and 27 degrees Celsius, what is to be done? This volume has to be increased, and this volume is increased in such a way that the pressure of air falls to 1 bar, temperature of air attains to the inlet temperature 27 degrees Celsius, and at that time volume of air is measured, and this volume of air which is measured is known as free air delivered, FAD. So and this free air delivered is measured in meter cube per minute. So this air which is collected in 1 minute is measured, and that is known as a free air delivered in cubic meter per minute. So then next one is displacement of compressor. What is displacement of compressor? So now what he says, the swept volume of a piston in first cylinder is known as displacement of compressor. So say for example this is a cylinder in which a piston is going to displace from top dead center to the bottom dead center. So this is the distance through which piston travels or moves in this cylinder. Say this is the piston which moves in this cylinder from top dead center TDC to the BDC, this is bottom dead center. So this moment or distance traveled is known as a stroke length. So this stroke length or the volume swept by piston, so pi by 4 d square pi by 4 d square or 2 pi r square is the area of piston. So area of piston is pi by 4 d square or 2 pi r square into L or into L. This is nothing but the volume of air, volume of cylinder or the volume swept by piston in a single stroke. So this is known as a displacement of compressor, pi by 4 d square L or 2 pi r square L. And if it is pi r square L, so if it is a double acting, then it is to be multiplied by 2. So if it is single acting, for single acting it is pi by 4 d square L or pi r square L. If it is double acting, then it is pi 2 pi by 4 d square L or 2 gets cancelled, pi by 2 d square L, or that can be written as 2 pi r square L for double acting air compressor. Next terminology is actual capacity of compressor. What is actual capacity? So the actual free air delivered by cylinder per minute is known as actual capacity of compressor. So swept volume is different from actual air delivered. So it is always given in cubic meter of free air per minute. The actual capacity per stroke is always less than displacement of stroke. So actually what we say, pi by 4 d square L is the volume swept in one stroke, and if it has got rpm, say for example 10 revolutions, 10 rpm, so into rpm is the volume swept in meter cube per minute. So if we want to know this volume swept volume per minute, pi by 4 d square L into rpm of this compressor. So this gives us swept volume, but actually volume taken into the compressor cylinder is less than Vs. So this is less than Vs because when air enters into this cylinder, it has got restriction. So amount of air which enters in this cylinder is less than swept volume because the time required for movement of air is very small or very short. So say for example 300 rpm, the piston moves at the speed of 300 rpm. So in 1 minute 300 revolutions or 300 cycles are completed. That means per second, if we want to find out it in seconds, 65 cycles are completed in 1 second. So the time for the air given to enter into this compressor is very short. Within 1 second it completes 5 cycles. That means we can imagine 1/5 of second is given for air to compress in 1 cycle. So very short time is given, and because of that short time sufficient quantity of air may not enter. Therefore the actual volume of air entering into this cylinder is less than the swept volume of piston. So that is what we say is actual capacity of compressor. So VA is actual capacity of compressor is less than the swept volume of cylinder. So if we find out this Vs in meter cube per minute, it is greater than the volume of air delivered in meter cube per minute actually. So now volumetric efficiency. What is this volumetric efficiency? It is the ratio of free air delivered by compressor per stroke. So free air delivered is V actual of compressor. It is the ratio of free air delivered by compressor per stroke to the displacement stroke. Displacement stroke means swept volume per minute. So this is known as the volumetric efficiency. So meter cube per minute, if both are in meter cube per minute, then we can take unit for both as meter cube per minute. Or else if we want to find out this per stroke, So actual volume per stroke is V actual, and pi r square L is the swept volume per stroke. So this is nothing but volumetric efficiency of compressor. So actually amount of air taken per stroke is less, and theoretically amount of air entering into the compressor is more. So this ratio is known as the volumetric efficiency. Why actual amount of air entering into the compressor is less? Because the time provided for air to enter into the compressor cylinder is very short, and one more thing is there will be resistance for movement of air into the compressor cylinder in the walls of a compressor. So when this air starts to rush into this cylinder due to the pressure difference, so there will be friction or obstructions, or the passage will be insufficient for air to enter into the compressor cylinder. Therefore the actual volume of air entering into the compressor cylinder is less than the actual capacity of compressor cylinder. So that difference or ratio of this difference is known as the volumetric efficiency. Actual volume of air entering to the swept volume of compressor is known as a volumetric efficiency of compressor. So now work done per kg of air compressed without clearance. What is without clearance? Now it is assumed that piston moves in this cylinder up to the top dead center. So there is no clearance between cylinder head and piston head when piston reaches to top dead center. So directly this piston reaches to the topmost position and it hits. There is no clearance between cylinder head and piston head. So that is known as without clearance. But practically this is not going to happen, that there must be a clearance, because if we do not provide clearance between piston head and cylinder head, so this piston will hit to the cylinder head and it will damage the components mounted over the cylinder head. So practically it has to be given with a clearance at the top. So now let us see first of all how much of work is required and how this compressor works. Let us consider piston is at bottom dead center. Initially piston is at bottom dead center, BDC. Piston is at bottom dead center, and here there is a sufficient quantity of air into the compressor cylinder. The movement of piston in the upward direction, initially piston is at bottom dead center, we assume that state 1, it is at state 1. So let the pressure of air be P1, volume of air in the cylinder be V1, specific volume V1. So capital V and small v are different. Capital V means absolute volume in meter cube, and small v means meter cube per kg. So let P1 be the pressure, V1 be the specific volume of air at the inlet. So this is V1 and pressure is say P1. Now movement of piston in the upward direction starts to compress the air, assuming that this inlet wall and outlet wall are in closed condition. As soon as this piston moves in the upward direction, the compression starts, and this compression is a polytropic compression. So gradually pressure increases and volume is going to decrease. Volume decreases and pressure increases as the piston moves in the upward direction. So as this piston reaches to the top dead center, just before the top dead center, somewhere here, so this outlet wall opens. So pressure increases to P2 and volume is say for example V2. At volume V2, this air is discharged into the reservoir. So as soon as this wall opens, so then pressure increase is stopped and this air which is compressed will be delivered to the reservoir. So as soon as complete air is delivered, this piston reaches to the topmost position, top dead center at point 3. At point 2, somewhere here, this wall, outlet wall or delivery wall opens, and from point 2 to 3, as this piston, further movement of piston sweeps out this air into the reservoir. So as soon as piston reaches to the top dead center, this delivery valve gets closed and piston moves in the downward direction. It starts to move into the downward direction. Just a moment, at just small moment of piston towards bottom dead center reduces pressure of air into the cylinder or pressure into the cylinder up to the atmospheric pressure, and as soon as its pressure comes to the atmospheric pressure, this inlet valve opens. So piston moves from top dead center to the bottom towards bottom dead center. Just a moment reduces its pressure from P2 to P1. As soon as pressure reduces to P1, immediately this inlet valve gets open, and this inlet valve allows the atmospheric air to enter into the compressor cylinder, and further movement of this piston towards bottom dead center sucks the fresh air into the cylinder. So movement of piston from top dead center to the bottom dead center makes this air to enter into the cylinder. So this process is known as suction process, and this is compression, and here there is delivery. So again fresh air enters when it reaches to the bottom dead center. So this moment of piston is shown on x-axis, top dead center to the bottom dead center. As soon as piston reaches to the bottom dead center, so complete air enters into this cylinder. Again further movement of piston from bottom dead center towards top dead center starts to compress air pressure increases, again volume gets reduced, delivery valve opens, again air is delivered into the reservoir, and at the end piston reaches to top dead center. Just minor movement of piston towards bottom dead center, just small movement makes this pressure to fall suddenly up to P1. Inlet valve opens and fresh air enters into the compressor cylinder, and suction process completes. So this cycle is going to complete. So this is going to be repeated. Now the work done on PV diagram. So this is PV diagram, we call as a PV diagram. So this area on PV diagram, blue area, represents the work done on the air by a compressor, or work required to compress air when there is no clearance. What we assume is piston moves from bottom dead center to the top dead center, and top dead center means it reaches to the topmost position. There is no clearance at the end of compression between piston head and cylinder head. It reaches to the topmost position, or nearly it hits to the compressor cylinder. Now we will find out the work done per kg of air in this compressor. So now 4 to 1, the process 4 to 1 B, the suction of air, at pressure P1. So 4 to 1 is suction, then 1 to 2, the process 1 to 2 is known as a polytropic compression. Polytropic compression of air. So polytropic compression means PV raised to n is equal to constant. So this process 1 to 2 is polytropic compression. Then 2 to 3 is discharge of air. here at constant pressure P2. The pressure is going to remain constant from 2 to 3. Now the area on PV diagram for 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This area gives us represents work done per cycle. So now this area is divided into three different areas. So first of all, we consider area, this rectangle area, that is 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. We call this as origin 5, 6 and 7. So area work done is equal to area 2, 3, 5, 6 plus area, this complete area 2, 3, 5, 6, this complete area, then plus this area 1, 2, 6, 7, 1, 2, 6, 7 minus, so this complete area minus this rectangle 1, 4, 5, 7 minus area 1, 4, 5, 7. So this area is a rectangle which is given by, so width is V2, this width is V2, assuming that this is V2, this is V1, so V2, and height is P2, so pressure is P2, so P2 V2 use first area, and second area is the area under this curve, polytropic compression curve, which is given by plus of V2 V2 minus P1 V1 divided by n minus 1, where n is index of polytropic compression, minus of this area rectangle 1, 4, 5, 7. So this is P1 is the pressure and V1 is the volume. P1 V1 gives us this area P1 V1. So compiling these terms, P2 V2 minus P1 V1 on one side plus of P2 V2 minus P1 V1 whole divided by n minus 1. So in this numerator, P2 V2 minus P1 V1 is common, so this is to be taken as common. So taking P2 V2 minus P1 V1 common, so in this bracket, so P2 V2 minus P1 V1 is taken common, so what is going to remain here? 1 plus of, so in this numerator 1 is going to remain 1 divided by n minus 1, and P2 V2 minus P1 V1 is taken common. So on simplification, we get, first of all, we will again rewrite work done per cycle is equal to 1 plus 1 divided by 1 n minus 1, another bracket P2 V2 minus P1 V1. On simplification, n minus 1 is LCM, n minus 1 plus 1 P2 v2 minus v1. So n minus 1 is taken common, LCM. N minus 1 into 1 is n minus 1, 1 as it is, minus 1 plus 1 gets cancelled. So we get n divided by n minus 1 into p2 v2 minus v1 v1. So this is work done per cycle. So this can be written as, again, PV is equal to MRT. P capital V is equal to MRT. This M, if we transfer on left hand side, this will be P capital V divided by M is equal to RT. P capital V divided by small v, volume per unit mass, is specific volume. P into small v is equal to RT. So there is difference between capital V and small v. So here we have considered small v. So in place of PV we can write as RT. So this can be written as n divided by n minus 1. So P2 V2 can be written as R P2 minus of R T1. R is taken common. This can be written as n R divided by n minus 1 T2 minus T1 is the work done in Newton meter per cycle. Again, if we write, so this is equation number 1, we can call this as equation number 2. Again, we can convert this equation number 1 as, we can write this equation number 1, work done per cycle. Equation number 1 can be written as work done per cycle. Here P1 V1 is taken common. By taking P1 V1 common, we can write this as n divided by n minus 1 P1 V1 in bracket P2 divided by P2 V2 divided by P1 V1 minus. So this can be further written as, we'll copy this equation, work done per cycle is equal to n divided by n minus 1 P1 V1 in bracket P2 V2 divided by 1 V1 minus 1. So now what we know is polytropic law. P1 V1 to the power of n is equal to P2 V2 to the power of n. So now P2 term we will transfer on right hand side. P2 divided by P1 is equal to V1 divided by V2 to the power of n, or else this can be written as V2 divided by V1 to the power of minus n. So inverting this power, minus n can be written. So now P2 divided by P1 can be written as V2 divided by V1 to the power of minus n. So here we have P2 divided by P1, or V2 divided by V1. V2 divided by V1 can be written as V2 divided by V1 can be written as P2 divided by P1 to the power of 1 over n to the power of minus 1 over n. So if we transfer this power minus n on left hand side, so this will become minus 1 over n. Minus n becomes minus 1 over n. So replacing this V2 divided by V1 this in this equation, we get n divided by n minus 1 P1 V1, P2 divided by P1 as it is we can write. So this P2 divided by P1 as it is. V2 divided by V1 is written as P2 divided by P1 to the power of minus 1 by n minus of 1. So now we can see bases are same, indices can be added, n divided by n minus 1 P1 V1 in bracket P2 divided by P1, base is same, P2 divided by P1 to the power of, so power of this one is 1, nothing means 1, 1 minus 1 by n minus 1. So again this can be written as n divided by n minus 1 P1 V1 to the power of P2 divided by P1 to the power of n minus 1 divided by n minus 1. So n is taken as LCM, n minus of 1 divided by En. So this is again Newton meter per cycle is the work done. Now this P1 V1 can be written as work done is equal to n divided by n minus 1. P1 V1 can be written as R P1 in bracket P2 divided by P1 to the power of n minus 1 divided by n minus 1 Newton meter per cycle. So this is nothing but the work done in this compressor without considering clearance. So for today's lecture this much is sufficient. I had planned to cover the work required to compress air with clearance volume also. So we will cover it in next lecture. Volumetric efficiency and the work required per cycle, work done per cycle considering clearance volume and volumetric efficiency. So hope that you followed the various equations. So just I will summarize the equations as work done is equal to without clearance. So we have many more equations. The very first equation we can write as n divided by n minus 1 V2 V2 minus 1 V1. So this is one form of equation. Again this can be written as another equation Newton meter per cycle. Again this is written as n divided by n minus 1 R 2 minus T1 Newton meter per cycle. Again same can be written as work done is equal to n divided by n minus 1 P1 V1 bracket P2 divided by P1 to the power of n minus 1 divided by n minus 1 Newton meter per cycle, or this again can be written as work done is equal to n divided by n minus 1 R T1 P2 divided by P1 to the power of n minus 1 divided by 1 Newton meter per cycle. So these are the various forms of work done per cycle in Newton meter per cycle when the air is compressed in a compressor having no clearance or without clearance. Thank you.